gets all the honey from
We used to call him Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii.
This is Joycey. That's Joycey.
Mary's camera is off.
Oh my God.
It would really help. It would really help if you could mute your microphone, because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of feedback, and maybe one person at a time could talk. So if everyone can mute their mics, if you know how, that's helpful. So the next person, I'm just going to do quick introductions. With the glasses and the red hair and the wooden floor, and is that you, Donna?
Yes,
I can't tell.
Yes.
yes.
Yes, I saw her. Hi, Francis.
Hi, friend. So those are some dear cousins in the UK. And his brother. Okay, did you want to say something? Okay. I can't hear you guys. If you could mute your mics, that would be great. Okay.
Michael, I can see Michael. Fix up your face because I could see only part of your face.
Yeah, Michael, we wanted to move your camera so we can see your beautiful.
That's better. Okay.
Mike, you're recording this, correct?
This guy, when he was a boy, little boy.
Who knew him when he was a little boy?
Oh, I think I did. It's Joyce.
That's my Joycey.
Yeah.
My Josefa.
That's my Josefa. That's right.
Joyce, you so bizarre. It's so weird. Like Joyce is my cousin in New York, and Michael's my friend. Michael's my friend from Malta, so it's really strange to me to find out that you knew each other when he was a little child.
Because, the Bahajar family was your grandfather's very good friends. So we know Tony Bahajar, Mary, we know Gracie and Michael. So when he said Michael Bahajar, I was like, is that the same one that I knew?
No.
It's
Yes,
not.
no,
though, right?
that's his uncle. The one you know, that's Michael Bahajar in Staten Island. That's his cousin, his first cousin.
Right, from the
That's
States.
right.
Oh, it's Gracie Bahajar's brother. It's not the
Yes.
same one. That's
That's his first cousin, yeah.
Yes.
The one you know
They're
is Tony Bahajar, Tony Howley, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who else do we have here? We have Francis' brother Jerry and his wife Janet. Jerry's in the blue turtleneck standing up. So that's his brother.
Yes.
So good to see you.
Hello.
Hello.
We're located in Peas Pottage, southeast England,
Jerry.
and
The only time I haven't seen Jerry since he was a little boy.
Wow.
That's not
He
true.
was a little boy. I remember him with the coat and the big hat.
السلام Doris.
Yes. Ava.
السلام
This Mary, I know, my favorite. Yeah.
Good, Mary.
Okay, so I'm just going to move on because we want to get to your story. So Bridget is there. Hi, Bridget. That's my cousin with her little boy.
Yeah, I
Liam?
spoke to her already.
Yeah.
And this is where I have to leave you now.
why is that?
Okay. So next to Bridget on my screen with the hat, that's Chelsea.
He's gone.
Where? I don't see Chelsea.
Is that with the hat and the long hair?
He's having a cup of tea.
I don't see her. I have a Mary's camera. Mary's camera is off. Mary's camera is off.
So I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I could hear you.
These are more people.
Chelsea. Oh well, I don't know if she can hear me.
I
All
see
right.
Donna.
Then Joey and Doris. Okay, Joey and Doris are from Zabar as well, and
Michael, Doris. I see Joyce.
I'm John's
is
grandson.
Samantha with the glasses?
Godfather now, sorry.
Oh,
Godson, not
Is
grandson.
that Samantha with the glasses?
Yeah.
and
I'm proud of it.
Hi, Sam.
That's my godson right over there, Joey.
Nephew.
That's
Joe,
And then
you're
James.
his nephew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's my business
Hi,
partner.
John.
him and
You
Joey.
okay?
Yeah, it's so good to see
Yeah.
you. James, it's wonderful. I haven't seen you forever. So,
And Ian.
How do you,
Ever since
how are
we
you?
left Malta, it disappeared.
huh?
Center yourself, James, you're not in the picture.
Where are you living? In Malta
Happy-
now?
Who's talking?
Jerry, the tea is getting cold.
No.
And who's this lady? This is Samantha?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. She's a great artist, Samantha, too.
Oh,
You know that?
yeah. Nice.
I saw some of her work in England when I used to go to England. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And James, too. I saw James today. No, James. Too much. Hey, Joey.
This Samantha, oh.
Hi,
Where-
Sam.
Hi. Wait.
Where's
Okay.
Harry's?
Okay, so I think we should start. I think we should start with the stories. People are still trying to come in, but
Okay.
they'll come in if they can, if
Well,
not
you're
next
the
time.
organizer. You should modify
I
it.
think, Manu, I have to teach you how to use Zoom, or because this isn't letting everybody on, unfortunately. So anyway, we are going to start. So I think the best thing to do is like for each person to ask a question, and Nanu will just go from whatever you ask, and then he'll talk, and you know, he's a repository of a lot of information, a lot of stories, and we're very excited, and I'm excited. So so Vincent, since this, well, actually, Mike, what happened to Michael Bahaja? There you are. Michael, this really started with you and then Vincent, the two of them. This is how this all began, and they are the historians. So I would like to let Michael start and Vincent to ask questions, and then we'll just go around.
Okay, shoot, I'm ready. I will give you what was known to me as a young man. And I'll give you the answers. First of all, before I forget, Joyce here, which was my beloved niece, her father was a good clarinetist with the band. And saxophone. He was a musician with us in the band. You saw the pictures of him. So shoot the questions, I'll give you the answers. Whatever I have, I'll give you.
Michael, do you want to start first?
Doesn't matter.
It was 1953.
1953.
1953.
Was it January?
Yeah.
Was it January, John? No. Was it January?
January, it was January 14th, 1953. I arrived in America on January 23rd, 1953.
Everyone.
Well, the social activities in Zabba was as it is today, very, very much the same. You got two bands, Tal Baida or Tal Baqra, who got nicknames, Blue Arena and St. Michael, two great bands. I believe that I played with Maria Mata's band.
Johnny.
Oh, God. I believe St. Michael's band was a bit stronger in the trombone area. But there were two good
Sounds a
bands.
bit low for me, John.
I'm sorry, could everyone be quiet? Because when you're interrupting, I can't hear anything. I can't hear Nanu, I can't hear you. It just sounds like noise. So if everyone could maybe mute mics and try to be quiet while Nanu talks, that way we can hear him, because I can't hear anything when people are talking.
Let me repeat
Can I
myself.
ask something? John,
He asked me what was the social activity when I was left Malta. It's much the same as it is the same. During the marches, they have the carts there, the umbrella, and the cannizzata. The bands were strong. Competition, very competitive. As a matter of fact, it was so competitive that pastor Zabbar those days was Giuseppe Zarf, and they had to guarantee 25,000 pounds, not to fight. Both clubs had to put 25,000 pounds guaranteeing not to fight. If by any party, they would lose it. But the fervent of the fest, especially at the Tadou on Saturday morning, it used to be great. The best you could ever imagine. Zabbar Road, the sanctuary street, Ġdida,
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Doris? I'm sorry, Doris and Joey,
Yes?
you keep talking and we can't hear Nanu when you guys are talking.
Well,
So maybe you can turn your microphone off.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, good boy.
Okay.
Stop talking.
Yes, please. I feel like I'm in class. I'm always telling my students to stop talking. So forgive me if I have my teacher attitude on, but I really want to hear Nanu. So
But
don't worry, you'll talk too.
put my finger up. I want to ask something to John.
Yes.
Okay, let Nanu finish and then you'll be the second person to ask. But let Nanu finish his story about the band clubs and then you can talk. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
So as I said, the band club were both strong, both Al-Baqra and both Al-Baida. Marches were unbelievable. The crowds were unbelievable. Zabbar is known for gathering big crowds during the holiday of Maria Mater Grazia. As far as Blue Arena goes, we were the first one to open, we were first one to play the first dance in Blue Arena, our band, and with the first one to get married in Blue Arena. And I remember Joey's father, when we got married in there, he kept asking me, do you have enough to entertain the people, enough material, enough liquor? I said, don't worry, I have. But he kept asking me, it stayed there forever. He was a great man. That's my brother-in-law. And again, the competition was great, both symphonic and both marches. And the glamour of the feast, how could I explain to you? It's unbelievable. I wish I could show you the videos that I have taken when I was there. With Joe Magro was with us all the time. We used to walk with Mars together because I wasn't playing there. When I returned, the first time I returned to Malta was in 1970. That's when I first returned. And believe it or not, I was walking with the band during the march, and and the few people you know, maybe the regular guy like the people in the band, Shamini, Shikruna, a lot of people. There was a trombone available, and I haven't touched trombone since 1948. And I said, I have to play this guy. And I took the trombone, he lent it to me, and I started playing with the march, which I knew some of them. And some people that recognized the power I had. I had tremendous power in the trombone. But I had such a great time. It's a glorious time in my life, you know. I mean, I spent my teenagehood in there. I studied under Lely Camilleri, Maltempo. If you remember him? Remember Maltempo?
Johnny.
You remember? He was then Muhammad Al-Baida. But he was actually a great trumpet player, soloist, which I met his uncle this week and through Dawn. And then he became this band master after Pachivko, and then after he went to Taida.
Yes, in fact, Lily Maltempo was bandmaster of both Zabbar band clubs.
That's right. That's exactly
Yes.
right. He was a great soloist. Lely Maltempo. Giuseppe used to
Lely.
Lely was a trumpet player, and the Madonna Targrazia, Lely Maltempo used to go on top of the Barclays Bank on the first floor with the trumpet that plays the Ave Maria. When the band is downstairs, it was great.
Johnny.
Yes.
Johnny.
John.
Se tirranġa l-mikrofon għax mux jistema.
ما نستاش كله كيف انه ما نستاش نبسو هنا مش انت سمعني؟
A bit
Nobody?
loud. Maybe a bit better.
Is it better?
Anyway, carry on.
Okay, wait. I think we should let someone else to question. Joe, I know you were dying to ask a question, although
Excuse me. I'm talking to Michael Bahaja, right?
Oh, sorry. Okay, no.
If you have any special question that you would like to ask me privately, not privately, alone, that we have a chance to talk, because this is too much of a crowd, to reach with everybody. But you call me or I call you and we could chat. Don will help you out. All right? So I could answer more serious question of the history of the club that we went through. Okay, Mike?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Joey, did you have something?
John,
Adi.
tell me a story about a Messerschmitt who dived on you, shooting at you, and you were running from one side of the road to the other to shelter behind a apple tree.
That's
a
right.
apple wall. Can you say that? Because it's very interesting.
Okay, we used to go visit. We used to go to visit Carmena. Carmena حياتها كانت تعيش معنا. ديك مرت. I'm sorry, I'm talking Maltese. We used to visit
they speak Maltese.
family friend forever. At Mjar. I told the story to Don too. We used to go by bicycle. My brother Joe, which is Joyce's father, and myself. We went to, before we approached Zabih. You know where Zabih is, Joe? You remember, right? Joey, remember Zabih?
Remember what?
Zabih, قبل تدخل المجار.
Yes,
Of
I know.
course, of
I know the
course.
place. Each
That
time
was
I
the
pass
area.
through there, I remember you.
Right
Yes.
before we approached
Joe
Zabih.
always tell
That
me.
reminds me of you.
Right before we approached Zabih. The
Hey, you were busy now?
dove on us.
Just don't answer, Namu. Just keep it off the hook.
Okay.
Tired?
So when we went from one side of the street, Joey, to the other side of the street, and the Messerschmitt used to take aim at us and machine gun us, and we go from one wall to the other. He makes a turn and he goes the other way. So we were really lucky to be alive. Finally, he kept going. He gave up. We just played it dead. We just played on the floor, and he left.
Oh, I didn't know that part. You played dead.
Yes, we had to fake it because we just stayed on the floor. Make believe he hit us, and then he left because he made about 6 passes on us. He drove about 6 passes, drove on us.
That's a really great question, Joey. Yeah, this is where I used to live in Mjar. I lived on the border of Mjar and Zabiah, and I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
After I was living there for a long time, and then he told me, oh yeah, that's where a German sniper tried to kill me and my Uncle Joe, which was his father. I was like, what? And yeah, the World War II plane, the Nazi jerk, I guess, or Mussolini, jerk, whomever, was trying to kill you guys. You were on your bicycles, right?
Yeah, we were teenagers. I was about 14 years old. Yeah, and the plane was a Messerschmitt 109.
The plane was what?
The type of the German Messerschmitt was Messerschmitt 109. Fighter
All right, Joey, I'm sorry because you guys have to be quiet because I can't. When you guys talk, there's feedback on my computer. So there was a Messier 109.
Messerschmitt 109 is the type of a fighter plane, German plane.
Amazing. And you played dead. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
you had to do that. He would have killed us because he kept going back and forth until we dropped.
That
Then
was
we gave
really
up.
smart. That was so smart of you guys.
Yeah. Next.
Anybody have a follow-up question to that story?
Hi, Uncle John.
I have.
Hi, Uncle John.
Hi, hello, hi, Kathy, how are you?
I didn't know that story. I had no idea. My father never
That's
mentioned
your
that, so-
father, your father and myself. Your father and I were always glued together. We together, we dressed alike. He paid for everything because he was younger. But we used to visit Carmela Talcarich, his name, Carmela Talcarich, her name. We visit her in Mjar and go by bicycles. You know, we had a nice ride. And that's when we were attacked. That's when we were attacked, yeah.
Do you have any other stories? Sorry.
There's also another story with your father. He saved my life the second time. We were caught in the street in Vittoriosa. Excuse me. My wife is calling me.
Uh-oh, there you go.
Anyway, we were taking shelter under an arch, a big arch, you know. And your father somehow, I don't know, miraculously, we were standing next to each other. Suddenly he picked me up, put me on the other side. A big shrapnel went through, could have cut me in half.
Oh my
Could have
God.
cut me in half because it went right through the door.
Wow.
That's the second time, yeah. World War II. 2 souvenirs.
Joyce, did you know that?
In Bormla, we were in Cospiqua. Yeah.
Nani, do you... Sorry, Joyce.
You're on mute, Joyce.
Joyce, we can't hear you.
You're on mute, hon.
Is your microphone on? Okay.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that my dad was a very quick thinker. Right, Dad?
Oh, yeah. Always. Always.
Right, Uncle John?
Quick
He
thinking.
didn't think like he was going to get hurt. He thought of the other person first. So that's a nice story. I never knew that about
I
my
didn't know
dad.
that
Your
either.
father-
You never told us that.
Excuse me.
Ay, ay, ay.
The wife comes first.
He might start yelling. My Nanu likes to do this. Sorry. We can sing a song.
It's okay. I don't go. It's okay.
This is how we grew up.
That's in Francis.
I guess.
Joyce and Carson, do you remember any stories from your dad?
Oh, my father.
I'm
I would
sorry.
just say that they were very close and they came to this country together
Call him my name.
and they built a life together. And we lived with your grandfather for 6 years, my mom, my dad, and 3 of us. So we have a very good history and we know a lot because of, you know, he shares a lot of stories with us. So
But that one he never
Well,
told
yeah,
us.
like I said,
that one he never told us, yeah.
the only friends we really had, with real good friends, was the family. We're all musicians, we played together, we lived together, our wives put up with our nonsense to our lives. And this is a big void in my life. It's only me and Uncle Paul is alive. Uncle Paul, you know, himself neither. But your father and I were all together. But no question asked.
Wow.
We played together, we played soccer together, we lived together, everything we did together. Your father was a brilliant man. He was a great master, a great carpenter, unbelievable. You know, you saw his anyway, I don't have
Yes.
you know, he was a master.
So what my Nanu is talking about, my Nanu's talking about his family. So he had quite a few brothers. How many brothers? 5 brothers? And 1 sister?
7, but Uncle Paul is number 7.
Yeah.
But a couple passed away early. And so most...
Three of them passed away when
Guys,
they were
look
young.
at Sky 5.
My brother Michael, my brother Spedito.
Wait, can I interrupt? Guys, I can't hear anything. So if your television is on, maybe you can shut it off. So I don't know if your TV's on, maybe you can shut the door. Because there's so much noise. And if, you know, if you guys are talking, you could put your microphone on mute or stop talking. Because we can't hear my Nanu. Okay. So anyway, Nanu's talking about his family.
Okay, we had 7 straight brothers, 7 boys. And there were 3 that died in infancy, which is my brother Spedito, who was 20 months old, given the wrong injection. He died with the gangrene. And then we had brother Michael, 3 months old, that he died, and my sister Doris. She was only about 2 years old, same thing, died in infancy. And those are the three that died. Now my brother Tony died, my sister Chetta died, my brother Laurie died, my brother Charlie died, which he would have been 103 years old. Like yesterday was his birthday. 103 years old if he was still alive. Nana's still going. She's still bitching. Anyway,
Johnny,
we were 10 altogether. 10 altogether.
Johnny.
Yes.
لا مش هذا. Johnny.
Yes.
Doris.
Idly, Doris.
I know. Tell them something about the ghosts and the bar.
Ooh, ghost stories. Great question.
Oh, that's a long story.
Long time ago, it's the same time you're talking about. Of
The
the
one-
soldiers.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
soldiers
that's
and
where
the ghosts.
that's where you listen, Doris. That's where he was born. He was born across the street, where today there's a dressmaker, Rita. Okay, the ghost wasn't there, and believe me when I tell you, I played in that house, never saw anything. My father could not get in the house, as big as he was. When he rented a room in that house, when he met my mother, he was thrown out of the house while he was sleeping. He didn't even know that he was in how the power threw him up. My grandfather, when he walked in the house, the center hall, they had a chandelier in there. And the chandelier used to swing from one side to another because my grandfather wasn't there. To make the story short, when they moved out of there, my aunt Paula, which you don't know, she helped the movers move the furniture from top to bottom, from one side only, by herself. She picks up the furniture by herself. The ghost was picking up the other side. It sounds ridiculous, but it did happen. And then in World War II, they had the Americans stationed in there. They could not take it anymore. They had to leave because whoever was fine to KP, kitchen, whatever it is, the soldiers were downstairs. They used to see this little boy try to choke him with a goat in his hand. And the goat next to him, a little beautiful boy with curly hair, they used to say. And they left, they vacated the area because of that. That's one house across the street where Doris was born. And next to the house I was born. Yeah.
I don't understand. There was a little boy.
Looking. A little boy was actually set up. They saw the most. My aunt Paul feed them every day.
Feed the goat.
Little boy used to be in the stairway. As soon as you go in the house, that has a nice stairway. Used to be right there. Maybe he was about 11 years old, 12 years old. And it was a good looking kid.
X'isima triq, John, li tgħid fuqha. It-triq, x'isima? What's the name of the street, John? Sada Bayada. That is where you used to live?
Listen, corner Strada Bayada used to be the church street, behind the church street.
Yes. It's still called Strada Bayada now.
Exactly. You know where they used to do the beautiful house at the corner?
Yes, Spadaro.
Right there across the street. There.
Spadaro, yes.
Spadaro Street, that's right. Spadaro Street. Very nice, yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
And there was a lot of history. That if I start talking to you about Bayada Street, I'll never stop.
No, do it, Nanu, do it. It's so interesting. Bayada Street, he calls it University Street. Go, tell us.
It was unbelievable. The street consisted of all trades.
That street is always
Wagon makers,
University
carpenters,
Street.
shoemakers, horseshoe makers, blacksmiths, tinsmiths, carpenters, woodlater. So us kids, we used to go from one shop to the other. They were, oriented, business oriented. The local people used to repair jobs and everything. We used to go from one place to another. Sometimes with the blacksmith, sometimes with the as a matter of fact, Doris's father, he owned one of those shops. He was a great carpenter. He used to make the aperture, windows and doors. We used to come in there, and I used to tell him, he always had a wood shaving, chana, chana, but the chana of chan. He always had a piece of chana in his mouth. And I'm gonna be vulgar to say this. I'm gonna be a little bit vulgar. He used to say, how come you always have chana in your mouth? He says, it was sometime. I hope that sometime I will make drop out of me a workbench.
Wait, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. Nani, can you repeat that? What did he say?
He used to tell me, I eat this, I eat
Yeah,
the wood
that
chicken,
was
but sometimes I was...
Wait, Doris, you have to stop talking.
Okay, that's it. So
Doris, when you talk, I can't do anything. Nanu, I'm sorry. Doris, please. Okay, Nanu, wait, one more time.
Doris's father was a great carpenter. And while he worked, he always had wood shavings in his mouth. And I used to tell him, why do you have wood shavings in his mouth? So I'm going to tell you
Doris' father was
plain English. He used to say, I ate it, that's someday I will shit a workbench.
Doris,
Doris, be quiet. I love you, but be quiet.
I heard what he said, though.
I can't hear anything.
He said he always has shavings in his mouth. So one day he would poop a workbench. Right? That's cleaned up.
Thank
you. I finally heard what you say.
I got it.
He was a funny guy. His father. But I tell you one thing. He was a great...
He's talking about me. I understand what you're saying.
Kathy does more than me.
Right.
Now, in that street, Bayada Street was full of these little shops, cabinet makers. They used to make these, createl, right? The wooden barrels. They used to make them in there. And
we need to get on
this was
Zoom
university
so we can mute her.
We learned a little bit
I
from
know.
everything in there. It was beautiful, yeah.
Great. Okay.
And we used to play baseball, believe it or not.
Uncle John, how long did Nanu stay in Tunisia? That's my question.
Ooh, good question. So Nanu's my grandfather.
How long did Nanu stay in Tunisia? And did he know Nana before he went to Tunisia?
Wait a second. Say that again slowly, because I can't hear you.
How long did Nanu stay in Tunisia? And did he know Nana before he went?
Okay. Nanu actually was born in Hamroun. He was born in Hamroun. Then they moved to Tunisia. My grandfather and his wife, which I never met any of them, they moved to Tunisia and they settled down. They used to build the carrozzini, the wagons, the coaches.
Right.
And my grandfather was so big that he put his son, my father, in his lap. That's how big it was.
Wow.
It was about 6'4".
Wow.
And his shoulders were the width of a carrozzini. That's how big it was.
Wow.
Yeah. And he grew up in there. Then my father became, your Nanu became a train engineer. He used to drive the trains.
Huh?
Okay.
Yes. And then he came to Malta. Then he was in the French army. Then when he came to Malta, to see his uncle and my mother, which was his first cousin, but he came to see his uncle, which was my grandfather. And he rented a room next to the house that we were all born. This is the house, the haunted house I was telling you about, close to what?
Right.
And that's when he found himself thrown out in the street. And that's where he met my mother, and that was love at first sight.
So the question I have is, how long did he stay in Tunisia? Up to like teenage?
He must have been, he came to Malta in his 20s.
Okay.
I think he was 20 years old.
اسمه انت
And
Yeah, I
my
think
other
it was 20,
question is,
21 or 22 years old.
لا هتنسمع تايم
ما يجيش فوق ده
were there,
ناخذ
did he
شيء
have
جبناه.
other siblings in Tunisia? Did he have other siblings?
Oh yes, and they came to visit with us. So
هيا لو يعني
I had to see him and his sister, which was like his mother, because my father lost his mother when she was young.
تاينا
And his mother, my father's mother, was the sister of my mother's father, first cousins.
Okay, the reason why I'm saying this is right before, I don't know if you know the story. I always wanted to talk to you about it. Right before my mother died,
Yeah,
she told me a story that Joyce knows this story. That, like it's been years now, my mom died, but I just keep playing it over and over in my head.
Yeah.
She told me that when my mom and dad first got married,
yeah,
my father was working. He was at the dockyard, and a young man came to her door,
yeah.
and he was dressed in uniform, and he had a British accent, and he said to her, now you got to remember, it was close to the end, and my mother was kind of losing it at that point, but she would come back with all these stories.
Yeah.
And she told me, he said to her, does Joseph Saliba live here? And she said, yes. And he said, I'm related to him. He said, I have a letter I want to give him. And my mother said that she took the letter, and when my dad came home, he read the letter, he closed it up, and he put it away, and he never told her what it said.
يستمع هفنا منها
That would
Do you
be
know
my
anything
dad.
about this, Uncle John?
هفنا يستمع
I have no idea about this. No idea.
Yeah.
Because
She
the only person
She said,
that
when
could-
I said, you never asked who he was? She said, no, I didn't ask. I didn't ask him. He didn't say anything. And he
was
just
wearing
put
a
the letter away.
uniform. He was wearing a uniform.
He was wearing a uniform.
Would that be the more?
I told Joyce, remember? I told her the
Yes.
story. And she
Would
told me he
that
had
be-
white gloves on.
Wait a second. He gave him a letter? No, that I don't know. But I know the only person that was wearing a uniform in our time was our cousin Patis from Birkirkara, Royal Maltese
متى على
Army,
بما
which hit the Jewish windows. And
He
the-
wasn't, I don't think he spoke Maltese.
then
this
I
guy-
don't know.
اسمع
I have no idea who he was.
Yeah.
السبيكرز ما ديك
I was just wondering.
Guess we'll never know.
فانت تسمع منهم وهنا
We'll never
نسمع
know.
من الهيدفونز من ده
I have no idea. I have no idea about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
And at
father
that
was
time, I
not.
said to her, you didn't question him. She said, no. At that time, you don't question him. If he says he
No.
doesn't want to talk about it, don't talk about it.
I can't recall that. I know nothing about it.
لا ما
Unless it was
بصح
something that somebody he says he's related to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea.
So I was wondering, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was somebody that along the years moved out of Tunisia or something and went to England, and I don't know.
Your nephew.
I can't recall it. Anyway, I don't remember this.
Yeah. So I
But
was
if you say
just, I
that
was
your
just
father-
curious if my father ever spoke to you about it.
Right.
Well, how did your father react? Did she say how he reacted?
She said stoned face. He didn't make any reactions. He
That's
closed
cool.
the envelope up, and she said, I never saw it again.
I never heard of this. Never.
Mystery.
Your father was not that talkative like I am.
Exactly.
No.
I'm
very
always
quiet.
suffering.
Let's move on. Let's move on. I'm trying to be a host, so other people are here that might want to ask questions. Mary, you've been so quiet, but you're here, and it's so lovely. Would you like to ask something? Mary's my manager.
I'd like to know who's the one who was talking now,
Doris keeps
and
talking.
the one next to her. Who are they? The one with long fair hair, and the other one next to her. Who are they?
That's your brother
Me?
and your sister.
Me?
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
And who,
Then, Mary,
My dad
wait,
is
wait,
Uncle
wait.
John's
I'm gonna
brother.
answer to that question, Mary. أنت تفتكرهم طلع
it's good, huh?
جيني
تبهبه تشفشف.
لا جيني
شاف
إذا وشتا
It's good كده تحبي بحفنا مع المامي تاعي. They were very close friends.
the closest friend. دانهم أطفال تاعها جويسي and Kati. دانهم جويسي my Josefa and just Kati.
I'm
أنا
not the
رجعت
nana.
فاتت جوزي.
Yeah, هي جوز now.
Okay. Now
But
I know.
Lillian المندولينا معي وهو مشاري.
Hello. Hi.
Hi,
Nice to
Mary.
meet you.
And they both played the piano, these two here, and the flute. And when we put the show up, we heard them all the show. They played the flute, Lillian and Joyce.
I'm laughing, but seeing France talking covered up. You coughing, you don't have to wear a mask.
Jena nista' niġġojnja allura.
Exposure.
Allura jiena nista' niġġojnja.
Okay. Mary, do you have any?
Għetlek jiena
Do you have any?
Ara kif mela.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Who's talking now?
Mary,
ادخل في المسيح.
You see this picture behind me here?
I can't believe it.
You see that picture?
my nanu's an artist.
I painted that.
He's showing off his picture.
Iva, stenna ftit.
You see the picture?
Oh, yeah, very pretty.
That's I painted.
ما تنيش شانس كنام
Yes.
No, they are not the door is open picture here.
That is what it did, do it come today.
Fejn kienet
Sorry,
il-messaġġ.
Joey.
هات البروفا تقبل فوق تاعها وما تنتهش شانس تدخل صبايا كل يمكن.
Does anyone have a question?
Yeah. How does Doris how can she join on her mobile? Because she's trying to, Ara.
Hi, Doris.
I can't answer. No.
That will keep us quiet.
I ask a question?
Yes, who's talking?
Doris, Saliba la tehi.
Vincent has a question.
اللي كمل له
Kif
بلاتي.
nisimu?
Doris,
Vincent,
Look.
you're muted.
Doris,
Unlike
Doris can't hear a word because our situation is like this. If we put it on the iPad, I won't be able to hear because the sound is too low.
No.
Now, if I put it on the mobile, which it is at now, I get it straight into my hearing aid with the Bluetooth. I can hear,
These people
but
are
Doris can't
quiet.
hear a word.
And that's
wow.
translated.
So that's why we're trying to solve this technical problem. By the time it will end, maybe we'll solve it.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have a question for my nanu? How about Bridget? Bridget, you're so quiet.
Bridget, yeah. Well, Bridget.
But you turn your microphone on. Bridget, your microphone needs to be turned on.
I can see Bridget.
I'm okay. I just hearing what he's saying. That's all.
Okay.
I don't have any questions to say. Maybe my mom would have, but
I tried to call your parents, but
that's all I can say, I think.
Mom and your
With lovely stories. I mean, the one of the ghosts, I never heard it, so.
Oh,
Kif
yeah.
battuta xjampitlek l-ewwel?
I could tell you a lot more about that place anyway, but forget
Okay, I will try and call you then and listen to you.
it. Yeah.
Good?
Like I said, no, it's a long story. I grew up in that area. So at least until I was 13 years old, I was in that house all the time. I used to go there, play with her
It won't
kids.
work.
I never saw anything. I never
Calling.
saw anything myself. But they say,
From here.
like the owners of that house, when they used to go out, let's say go out for a wedding or something,
They come home, they find all the furniture turned around. And all the jewels and all the lights were on. And the jewels were all over the place. That's the truth. But the ghosts, they say that in Maltese, they say, put this at all the of masses to be said, and they were never recited. So that's why the ghost was there. So finally, the owners of this house paid the masses to be said, the legacy, and the ghost disappeared.
Yeah, yeah.
And because that house is still there, and it's beautiful house, believe me. Yeah. So how is the family? Everybody's all right, huh?
Of course, of course.
How
Mom
is
and
Paradise?
dad are okay
How
as
is
always.
Paradise Hill? Remember Paradise Hill?
Of course, still there.
That place.
We have
From what?
sheep and the horse.
Yeah, I
No.
saw them. The horse is white. I saw them. That
Yes.
part.
Tony.
Even the
Yeah.
sheep, even the sheep are white.
I did a lot of cooking in there, baby.
There are some with patches. Some of the sheep has black patch, but
Yeah.
That place is old. That's over. I don't know how old that place is. It must be in the hundreds because the
yes,
stairway
I
is
mean there's a tower as well.
yeah, the tower. That's what I said. The
That's
stairway of
from
the
the
tower
British time.
that through the wall. They made the stairway the thickness of the wall to go on
Yeah,
the roof.
yeah.
Yes, we used to love that place. Yeah. So many
That's all
people.
from me. Thank you. I'll put it on mute.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, some of you, there's like wind or something. Anyway, Vincent, I know you had your hand up that you wanted to ask a question. So I don't know if you're on
Where is
mute.
Ian?
We're supposed to not.
John,
Vincent has a question.
John, f'liema sena migrajt l-Amerika, please.
Immigration in America is very bad now.
No. In which year did you go to America from Malta?
1953.
Malta, I always went, first I used to go from Malta to Germany, Frankfurt, and from Frankfurt to Malta was the fastest way. But then we had Virgin Atlantic Airlines. And I used to go because I had to see my family, Francis Luna, Dana, Jerry, and Uncle Jerry. I used to go there from Malta to Heathrow, then we stop over, and then from there, we spend a couple hours, then go to Malta, 2.5 hours. Then when I go back, I spend
You
the week
didn't
in
answer
England.
his question, though. He's
Yes,
asking
it's
you
okay.
In which-
to immigrate to America.
And then spend 4 hours in England and go back to Malta.
1953.
You went to America 1953.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's right.
January.
He went to New York. He went to Ellis Island, and then he went to Astoria,
No,
Queens.
not Ellis Island.
No,
I
Ellis
never went.
Island.
I did not.
No.
No.
Nope.
No?
Well,
What?
with the first one.
My whole life I thought you went to Ellis Island.
No.
This is good I'm doing this meeting.
When we came to America, that was the first time that Ellis Island was eliminated.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
No, we went straight from the Pier 57 to Astoria with Uncle Charlie.
Yep.
And then 3 months after, your father came, Joyce's father and Kathy's father.
Yeah.
They came in March. We came we came January
They're
23rd,
ahead of my
and
dad.
they came in March
Can I say
15th, I
anything?
believe.
And they ported
Yeah.
in New York City, is that right?
Yeah.
I thought it was Halifax.
Anyway,
That's a good
And,
question.
It was the first time my mother and father ever saw snow that day.
yes,
Yeah. They came in a lot of snow.
yeah.
And when they arrived in the United States, my eldest sister was very young. I think she was like
Yeah,
a
she
month
was
old.
11 months old.
Oh, 11
not
months,
even.
okay. I thought she was younger.
She was
And
40 days. 40 days old.
That's it, 40
She was
days.
born in January,
They-
Luann.
Yeah.
Oh, Tessie came 11
Tessie
months old.
was
My
younger.
daughter Tessie.
Yeah.
And Uncle John and not Uncle John, Uncle Charlie and Aunt Rose were there.
Yes.
And who else was? Benny?
Who?
A tar.
Wasn't
Benny
it?
and
Who was
Stella.
it?
The
Yeah,
Atoms. I think
they
Benny.
took, and someone had a fur coat on. They took off the coat and they wrapped it around the
Stella.
baby.
It was
Oh,
Stella.
Stella, that's
Yeah.
it. Aunt
Stella,
Rose's
Stella
mom.
and Benny, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the same story happened to us when we went.
Because they
When
didn't
we
know it was
arrived,
so
we went to
cold.
They had no
Halifax.
clues. They had no clothes for the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with us.
Yeah.
We went from Malta, from Barcelona to Halifax, and Halifax, there was a lot of snow. And we
Patty
took off
Lamont
this,
went too. to
we
Halifax.
disembarked the ship just to take a look around.
Canada.
And we
Right.
did
My
not
parents
know
went
that
to
Godwin was
Halifax.
crying and crying and crying.
Halifax
And there was a
first.
Canadian man, one of the local people. He said,
Oh,
no,
enough, enough.
no, leave him. And he took snow and rubbed it around Godwin's ears. He says, he rubbed it around Godwin's ears because he says they could freeze. And
Yeah.
and he rubbed it on the coat around
came
him
with, like,
and went
summer
back on the
clothes.
ship.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first time we saw snow.
Yeah. Yeah. My father is always amazed
All right, so let's
with snow. Still, to the very end, he used to be in shock with skiers and ice.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't like snow either.
Malta's so close to Italy, the Italian.
Yeah, so you don't have snow in Malta. Let's see who's been quiet as well. Let's see. Jerry, you're still here. Any questions for Manu?
I don't think I have at the moment. Dawn.
I remember you a little bit,
Sorry.
Jerry. I remember
No.
you about maybe, if I recall, maybe it was about 7 years old, maybe. It was you and your brother Francis and your mom.
That's from the dentist.
Yes.
When we came,
Yeah, I went my ship with the SS Atlantic. Later on it was Queen Federica. And that's the only time I traveled. And we went to America, believe it or not, in 9 days. It was a very fast ship, 25,000 tons. Yeah. Uncle Tony, your uncle, do I know him?
Young,
No, we went
younger
together.
brother.
We went together. We were in the same ship. But as a matter of fact, it just so happened they were on their honeymoon. Because they were going to Australia first, and I talked them into going to America. And you got your cousin there, Lawrence, from Staten Island, from Brooklyn, and they gave him the affidavit. And he switched. We came on the SS Atlantic right before we were supposed to come to America on the Andrea Doria, the maiden voyage.
Yes.
So we did not go on it. We had to go
Thank
on
God
the
for
SS
that.
Atlantic. So we came on the SS Atlantic, and your father, they gave me a beautiful first-class cabin for me and my wife and 3 kids. I had double beds on both sides. It's beautiful, first class. But your uncle was put all the way in downstairs, a small little cabin. And I said, listen, what are you gonna? He says you could hear the propellers going. And then I talked them into coming to my cabin and live with us. And through the whole valley, they go downstairs to change. Otherwise, they live in our cabin. And I remember he was a funny guy, he was a great carpenter. He used to eat like crazy, always eating, and he goes on the side of the ship and throws it out.
Oh,
Got his money's worth.
Huh? He never stays empty, never. He used to eat a lot of wine and everything. Yeah, they spent the honeymoon 9 days in our room. And,
Michael's father. Michael, is this father?
huh? Yeah. Giuseppe, yeah, but he was it. Yeah, but let me look at him. That's right, from the what the hell is the name of the team? The Detroit Express, right? The name of the team was Detroit. That's right. You want me $20? I tell you. Against the Cosmos. Yeah.
You should collect interest, Uncle Don.
ذاك الهواي.
And Hawaii, yeah, that's it.
الهواي ده.
Oh my God.
That's in Hawaii.
Do you know Joey Margot
Yeah,
and
of
Doris
course I know
Margot and
him.
Mary?
You remember he had
Oh,
the mini I ever wrote in Mini Austin. Remember, Joey? That's right. Yeah.
what?
I remember.
He lifted your car.
That was good times, right? And that was the best 2.5 years of my life.
Aw.
With the family, it was great. We had with Joey and I, we were inseparable. Right, Joey?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
There you have.
We made bricks. We made our own bricks to build up his built-in oven and his cooking island. And Spedito was there. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah, we spent a nice time at the shop.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
John, remember?
No, I remember.
When that lady bought a doll and she wanted wrapped. And she came to you and said, could you rape it for me, please? تستطيع الربيعية please.
Anyway, but that lady told me one thing. That lady, you know what she told me? She says to me, she was very psychic, very, very psychic. And she says to me, I'm very sorry to tell you this. I hope it never happen, but you will not pass 2 years in here. You'll be going back. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just so happened that by then, the English kicked everybody out. The Maltese kicked the English out. And whatever she had, remember, liquor, she gave it all to us in the shop, remember?
No, I don't.
Yeah, and she also was like a neighbor.
I never saw any liquor in the shop, to be honest.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Listen, behind the counter, we had a place in the back here where we used to treat our friends, remember?
Yes, I'm only joking. Yeah, of course.
Because you know what we did? Let me tell you this, all of you. When we had the store, it was very long. It was his warehouse. And we cut it in half, 3/4 actually. But in my mind, we're going to get bigger. And we put the back of the store, shelves and all, and the counter, right? Were in the back. They were movable. And one weekend, we decided the store to get bigger. So we unfastened the screws from the wall. We moved all the way to the back by the toilet. And
we created an office at the back, a small
created
office.
an office, and we gave the store another 8-foot length. Nobody noticed. But then when the customers come, say, well, what happened here? How come we get so big all of a sudden? How could it possible? Because
the wall just moved back.
Remember?
Yeah.
Over the weekend we did, you and I, remember? And they were good times, Joe. They were good times. I miss those days. They were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to work half days each. Eh?
Huh?
We used to work half days each.
Yeah.
1 week in the morning, 1 week in the evening.
At the end, but before we
yeah.
We used to open the afternoon too, remember?
Yes. Well, Christmas time.
Nobody we close in the afternoon. This is what my idea. All the stores in Malta, they stop for a nap. They close the store till 4 o'clock.
Or siesta.
4. That's the best time we could make. We were in the corners in Zabbar Road, that the people go fishing to Marsa Scala. And was in an area where you could sell the fishing stuff. And I told to Joey, hey, listen, we take advantage of the situation. Everybody's closed.
We'll stay
and we went out, we bought some fishing traps and fishing equipment. And believe me, they cleaned us out. They used to come to by hooks and everything and nylon. Right, Joey?
Yes. You used to have a fishing rod with the with a fish hanging up
I
in the
met the
middle of the
stand
road,
with the fish
remember?
in the street, fishing rod up in the street, and with the fish hanging like this in the street. Remember?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the trick was in the business that we had, that we let the kids, with the kids, let them use the toys, let them play with them. This way they get a feeling, and then they want them.
That's a good
We had a
marketer,
very-
right there.
Yeah.
You used to make them cry for it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nice. Drive the mother crazy, yeah.
But he came up with a better idea. He came up with a better idea because we used to give like the Americans and the English, especially,
Yeah,
give
not this shit.
10% off. 10% off. And we got it. But he says, no, let's not do that. He says, let's give them, what the hell did he say? Let's give them a toy each. How many kids do you have? And instead of to give them the 10%, 10% and 20% discount, we give them a toy. So what's this whole place, wholesale
Whole
price?
price, yeah.
It was cheaper to give out the toys than
Yeah.
give out the money. That was the macro thinking. Right, Joey?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Those were
this
the
is-
days, John.
This has been great. This has been great.
So we have a few people that haven't said anything yet, like Jody, my friend
Me?
Jody, who's in the States. Jody, it's so nice to
Okay.
meet you. Jody, do you have any questions for my menu?
I don't, not really, but I guess, well, I just want to say it's really interesting to hear you talk because my father's parents came to America from Malta. I don't know what year, but around 1919, something around there. And I never got to hear a lot of this story, so it's really cool to hear your
It's
story.
funny. It's funny. Where did you live in America?
Well, they lived in Astoria too.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that. What were your family's
You know
name?
something? You know something? Your face, when I saw your face the first time, not now, before, I said,
Oh, yeah.
that's a familiar face to me.
I wish
You know,
she looks like Kimberly. She looks like my cousin Kimberly. At least I think so.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, she
And
does.
whereabouts in Astoria, do you know?
I don't know the street name.
No, what?
Yeah, but it was Mary and Joseph Cascia, and they had 3
Kakia.
kids.
Mary and
Kakia.
I know
Yeah.
that.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My father is Walter, the youngest of 3. It was Violet, Helen, and Walter were the kids.
I think they lived, I'm not sure. I think they lived, if you have a chance to ask him, maybe.
My grandfather died when I was very young, and my grandmother died when I was about 18. So it's been they haven't been around. But
I think
What about your
I think
father?
they lived on 23rd Street,
yeah,
25th Avenue. I think.
I've been there, but I just don't remember the street.
Yeah. I think near the Triborough Bridge.
Wow.
Yeah. So my Aunt Violet, she's about your age. She's still around, and so is my dad. He's 80. There's a big gap in their years, but I invited him. I talked to him a little so maybe I'll share this recording with him.
How
Wow.
old is your father now?
He's 80. He was the youngest.
Well, he's not my age. I'm
Well,
94.
Violet, the oldest is Violet, and she's I think she's 93 now.
Okay, I'm 94 now.
Yeah.
And then what do you
Well, I see
remember? What do you remember about her family? That's kind of amazing.
Well, I can go into details. I maybe, an acquaintance here and there. Maybe went to the same parish. I'm sure we went to the same parish.
It seems like a tight neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what's that?
I said it seems like a tight neighborhood.
Oh yeah, well, Astoria had more Maltese families than any place in America. 600 families when we came to America. Astoria had 600 families. There was Maltese Football Club, the Sons of Malta.
Yeah.
There was the Maltese Club, regular club, for the Pastizzi.
and all that. Giuseppe made pastizzi, made good pastizzi. But and they have the regular, you don't know, but the motto have what you call clubs, gazini, Vermont do gazini. And we had cousin like a gathering. They go out in the evening. You know, the boys go out, have a couple of drinks, couple of pastizzi. You speak Maltese, right?
No.
No, you don't speak Maltese?
Sorry. Nobody taught us Maltese in America.
They had the same Maltese
Dying,
system,
the poor
have their own
language.
clubs. They get together in the clubs, have a couple of drinks, pastizzi, and that's it. And go home for the evening. No television. The television was this small. When we came to this country, it was about 6 feet in diameter. Black and white. Hello. Okay.
Jody, we're...
So did you know that you were...
No, I'm sorry.
I didn't hear them. Well, I was just going to ask if you knew that you were going to live in Astoria when you came to New York, or did you just go and then figure it out?
When we came to Astoria, it was this. When we arrived in here, we had to have an affidavit to by somebody here to guarantee for us that we will not be a public nuisance.
Right.
We will have somebody to support us for the duration until we get a job.
Right.
So we actually came with Benny, a tart, and Stella tart. They made
Tart,
us
yeah.
because
That's
my
Aunt
brother
Rose's
Charlie,
Yeah.
my brother Charlie made affidavit for your mom and for your dad.
Right.
That's it.
You have to have a sponsor.
So we had no choice. We lived on 28th Street, 27th Street when we came to Astoria.
26.
There been 27th Street. That's it.
Uncle John.
So we had no choice. But
26.
we lived in Astoria 13 years. And from that, we went to Jackson Heights, from Jackson Heights to Malta to where I am right now. We've been in this house now 48 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 48 years.
Wow.
And have a nice house, big house. You came here, Mary, right? Right, Mary?
Pardon?
You came here into my house.
She missed that.
I came just for the night.
And even Francis came to us to my house, right, Francis?
That's right.
And Doris came to my house. Doris came to my house.
دور
in here.
اتيت
On
لهم
our,
الدار
we
تاعهم
came there on our way to
تجي
Stanley.
تموت الدار تاعهم
Coming.
Yes.
For the
Right.
night.
And Yvette
John.
came to my house. Yvette came to my house.
Yeah, everybody had to stop over.
I think so.
Going on to Stanley's.
And
I was there in 1963, John.
And but you came to the old house.
Yes, I don't.
Yes, Jody, I saw a lot of photos. You look like a girl in 1960.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, you've seen
That's on
that picture,
23rd
haven't you?
Street. That's on 23rd Street by the tribal.
With your father as well?
Yes, I observe you in drag.
You played the tambourine.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Jody, where do you know in Malta? Do you know what village?
What?
You're muted, but do you know what village your family's from in Malta?
I don't. I need to pick. My aunt knows most of the history, and I know she's gone and visited, but I haven't gotten much of that from her, so I need to really sit her down.
Yeah, and maybe I can help you a bit in Malta. It was amazing. I met Jody 1 week before I left for Malta. I was in Philadelphia. We met in Philadelphia. She's a beautiful artist.
Yes, I remember.
She's a fantastic artist, and we just started talking just because I loved her art.
That's fine.
Somehow I mentioned that I was going to Malta, and she's like, I'm Maltese. She's like the only Maltese person I ever met in my life in America.
Right? That is cool.
The only week before, and it's amazing. And now I find out that your family went to Astoria, and my grandfather knew
About
your family.
Are you in Malta now?
She looks like she could be our relative.
Probably is. Well, I want to introduce my friend Angel. Angel's a very dear friend. I'm so excited you're here. Angel's been like my right-hand person.
I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. And I literally...
Hi, everyone.
It's so nice to hear your stories. It's really, really warms my heart. My mom's family is all from Zabar. They still live there.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Do they have a nickname?
Yep. I wanted to ask you if you remember. They're Takalabardi.
Yeah,
so
of
my
course.
nannu.
Of course, Talabardi. Of course I know.
I know those
Yes.
names.
My nannu is,
Sure, I know.
yeah, my nannu is Gaitu. I don't know, Gaetano, Gaitu. Yep.
Yeah, Gaitu. That's right, Gaitu. And
Yep.
I think they lived around the school. The
I think so because I know they moved house and then they went to Sanctuary Street. There was a house because they came. There were streets named after them, like Leah Street or Felice Street.
I have family in Leah Street.
Leah Street.
My wife's nephews and nieces live in Leah
Yeah.
Street.
Mom.
That's by the church.
No.
Yeah.
It's by the school, Leah Street.
Yes.
Uncle John, that's
by
where
It's near
my
St.
mother
Teresa
was.
Street.
By the
No, really.
press. Right, Mary? By the
No,
press.
was
yes.
Juza.
No, it's by the school.
Oh, that's
So I was wondering if you remembered
Street, where we used to live, Nankill.
Yeah.
as well.
It's nowhere near church.
Near the church.
I was very happy
You know
listening
St.
to
Teresa Street?
your recounting. Because I didn't enjoy this conversation with my nannu because he died when I was very young.
Oh.
So it's nice. It's really nice.
So where do you live now?
I live in Buch. It's my dad's side of the family.
I got news
But
for you. In the boat, when I was training to be a stonemason, I was an apprentice. My instructor was built in the boat. Mahaz the boat.
Nice.
Right by the door, by the arm.
Nande,
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
What did you say? You said your father was in Zabuj?
My instructor was with the boat.
Oh, your stone instructor.
My instructor on stone building, stone dressing. He lived right by the door, by the main door going into the boat on the left-hand side, the first street.
I'll tell my dad. I'll tell my dad. It'll be really nice. I will if there's a recording done, I'd like to give it to my dad so they can watch.
Yes, I'm recording it. Yes. Michael Bahaja, maybe a better recording than this.
I also was fascinated by your story about being shot at because I know my nannu was as well. And my nannu had 6 children already. A newborn was my mother.
Wow.
She was born during an air raid, so she was born under a bed. She was lucky to be, all the children were in the, went to the shelter.
Yeah.
So they were all very young. And she had a mayisa,
midwife.
helper, you know?
Midwife.
Midwife, yeah. So she was very lucky that she had a midwife. But then there was a lack of soap, and she developed scurvy as a newborn. Yeah.
That's not.
But she survived.
That's not from.
I was born in the midwife
Scabies, listen. Scabies were developed. We lived so much underground. Yes.
Hello.
No,
I was born during the war.
It's here. This was scabies.
Also,
the fingers. And that was developed. We spent a lot of time in the shelters.
I can't say anything.
Yeah, maybe that was it. So my nanno had to work the fields, and they used to swoop down, and he used to hide in the crops, because he used to go down with the machine gun as well, with the airplane.
Yeah.
So that was.
Is the bomb
And he still used to go work because he had 6 kids. You have to do.
What a dangerous situation.
Yes.
The last time I went to Malta.
It was so bad it was so bad that we had no fuel to fly the planes. We had no more planes.
Yeah.
And the Germans, the Messerschmitts used to come, and hello hours was
airport.
The airport, and Venezia and Mostar. They used to come and land on the runway, on the aerodrome, and take off again. In other words, they had the freedom of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had nothing to fly, nothing left.
Horrible.
So then the submarine, which was the trawler with the Welshman, brought some gasoline and aviation fluid with the American Wasp, which was the aircraft carrier, and they brought us 50 Spitfires, and that changed the whole picture.
Yeah.
Because the Spitfires, the first 50 Spitfires, they flew and they got lost. But then they brought another 50, and they make sure that they landed the same with experienced pilots.
Yeah.
So it was sad, very, very sad.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Sorry, it's been nice seeing you, but I'm sorry.
Wait, Mary, before you go, Mary, before you go, I know you were trying to say that you were also born in the shelter. I remember your Tia Jana, didn't she also get married in the shelter in Rabat?
Yes.
She was in the shelter, but she didn't get married in there.
Yeah.
She married at the church.
Right.
But I was born in the shelter in Zabar.
In Zabar.
Oh.
And you were living next to the Hompesh.
Yeah.
Next to the Hompesh Theater.
Yes.
Your dad lived in, and I met your mom the first Lowell Vetrina, Vetrina, and she had it all the time.
Ah, yes.
Sakara? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
See how I remember?
Tal Maestra, in front of the Labour, where the Labour Party club is now. In front of us, le, mux tarafera, tal-era. Era, okay, sadna pal-sajt. Aha.
Yeah.
Fejn hemm il-Fembros, il-stor ta' Fembros, ġo.
Zabar.
Aha.
Let me tell you
It was the maternity.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about the shelter in Zabar. We were refugees in Birkirkara, and when we went, in 1943, we went back to Zabar.
Right.
They had such a huge shelter in Zabar that when the air raid went down, I went down in there. It was an air raid. I went down the shelter, and when the air raid was off, they turned the lights off to save the electricity.
Oh, my.
And I got lost in the shelter in the dark in there.
Oh,
And
God.
you know when I came up from El Bayada, I came up in Piazza de San Michele.
Whoa.
That's where I found my... That's where I came up. It was all underground, all tunnels.
Amazing. I never knew that they were shelters in Zabar.
So I have a question.
Shelters.
When did they actually build the
Huge.
shelter?
Huge, underground. You could
I
live in
didn't
there.
even know
You
that.
were living in there. Because the shelters had, the government dug the main tunnels, right? Only like streets.
Right.
And the people in there would buy a house, buy a space to dig a room for themselves, 10 by 10.
Mommy told us that, yes.
Bashar Liri.
Yeah.
I didn't
The
know
last
that.
time I went, the last time
Good night,
I
all.
went to Malta,
I love you.
the last time I went to Malta, my mother gave me the exact street and the entrance and told me what her shelter room was. And she said, you'll know where my shelter was because across from her, there was a shelter with all the beautiful tile work, and like the rich people made it like a home.
Yes, yes.
They had like a little area where they had, you know, like a potty, and they made it.
Yeah.
That in ours was just, there was nothing there. It was just dirt.
They're so big, the shelters, that they were named for these streets.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it's like
I
a whole,
didn't know
it's
They
a
had
whole
to because
village.
the whole town.
The village under there.
Oh, my
The
God. I
bombs
never
they
knew
dropped in-
that.
Listen,
Yeah.
for the
And
bombings
I
of
remember
the north, the
when
bombs that they dropped,
the feeling
48 hours
inside is
continuous
unbelievable.
bombing, you have to live underground. And the injuries, the casualties was very minimal.
Oh,
The most number of casualties were with the people, with the kids.
Yeah.
Because they used to drop toy bombs and pencil bombs and thermos bombs. They look like a thermos. The kids
Yeah.
play in the street. They go boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
10
goodness.
more kids.
Yeah.
So they had more casualties of
For children.
not regular older people.
Unbelievable.
Wow, to live through that is just so amazing. God bless.
Yeah, we had
And
tough
the
life.
richer you are, the more deeper you are in the shelter. The
Oh,
poorer
God.
you
Yeah.
are, the closer to the exit.
Yeah, because
Right.
you can afford your own room. Otherwise, you have to live in the hall.
Nanu,
Go up and down.
Nanu, what was your family's room like? And do you remember where it was? And
My father was a policeman in Vittoriosa and Cospiqua.
Oh, he does.
A policeman in there. My brother Laurie was in the ARP, a raid warden
There you go.
in Vittoriosa. So it was myself. My
I
brother
have a
Charlie
story about the shelters.
All right, well, wait half a minute there.
I'll wait.
I just want to mute.
Carry on.
Go ahead.
Go on. No, when you
And,
finish.
yeah, and my brother Charlie was in Libya and Italy. And it was myself, my brother Joe, and my brother Tony, my sister Jetta, that lived in Britain Car. That's all. My mother, Carmela, that's it. So
we didn't have a room in the bar and the sisters because we were all spread out.
No, we did not. No, it was all taken.
Oh.
Because the people that had dug a room and the shelter, they lived down there. They slept in there. They washed in there. They did their duty in there. You know, because electricity, they had everything. But whoever didn't have it, you lived in the hall. Go to the shelter, go down, the air raid sound, all clear sound. You go up,
Then you leave.
go home if you have a home.
Yeah.
The streets were full of rubble and debris anyway.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Anyway, I have a funny story, if I may say it.
Say it.
Sure.
All right. My mom and dad, they had a room, a private room in the shelter, but not everybody had one. All the other people used to sleep in the corridor.
That's right.
And the only thing that separated mom's and dad's room from the other people was a curtain, because they had no doors.
Right.
Just a curtain. But my mom was a bit embarrassed to go to the toilet and do her things, because the people outside might hear her. So my dad used to go out, stamp his feet on the ground and clap, saying, "Oh, it's cold out here," to disguise the noise.
Poor thing. They live
Listen,
horribly.
I'm sorry I have to break it up because my wife is crying. She's calling for my name. Okay, forgive me.
Okay, John. Hey,
No,
that was very nice.
Video.
Thank you, Don.
Bye,
Thank
Uncle
you.
John.
It's
We'll do
okay.
it.
Thank you, Don.
Good night.
Okay.
Uncle John,
Go
thank
and
you,
take
John.
care of
Bye,
her.
Good night, John.
Good night.
Thank you. I love you.
I'm sorry. I love you all.
Yes, again.
Give Auntie,
okay.
give Auntie my love.
Right.
Give Auntie Francis my love.
Nice.
Bye, John. Bye, John.
Bye.
Bye.
Give us a call sometime. I do. I do,
Thanks.
now.